In order to provide a public and equal access to education, recreation, and information, the libraries are designed to be a public space for community members to share and interact with each other. However, the coronavirus pandemic started a new social order where social distancing, sanitation, as well as the health and safety of patrons and employees are of utmost importance. We need to change the ways we use the public spaces. How does this new social order change the services provided by the library? To talk more about this today, we have Timberland Regional Library Executive Director Cheryl Heywood. Well, hi there, Cheryl. Thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So tell us, how has your work changed after the stay-at-home order?
So for me personally, and for the whole organization, we are following the governor's stay-at-home order to stay safe, and staff are teleworking. And as the governor's order states, in terms of essential services, our IT department and HR facilities, I think that's it, are working in the buildings when they need to, but otherwise staff are teleworking.
Okay. So will the library be able to maintain the equal access standards as usual?
Well, as you know, right now, the physical libraries are closed, and we've had to pivot pretty quickly to offer additional online services and programs and social media posts and all that. So, and we're very, very well aware of the digital divide, and for people who have internet access and people who have devices and people who don't. So at this point, we are not as equitable as we would like to be, of course. We are working very hard with the state library and other state departments right now on, there's been additional hotspots put out in Lewis County and Mason County. My understanding is that in Mason County, the PUD put out 41 additional hotspots. We're also working with the the Educational Services District 113, because it covers the same 5 counties we do. And that's Thurston and Grace Harbor, Mason, and Pacific and Lewis counties. And ESD is working obviously very closely with the school districts, and so we're trying to work with them to get the information out as well to the students, because we know that they're giving students Chromebooks and extra hotspots as well. So we're trying to minimize the digital divide, but at the same time, we're well aware of the issue. In addition, I wanted to mention to your viewers that we have continued to offer Wi-Fi, and that's from 6 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week, at the 27 libraries, so that the Wi-Fi spills out into the parking lot and into onto the sidewalk, so that people have access to internet that way.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Great. Do you think the libraries need to go through a physical change before they open back up?
Yes, absolutely. For everyone's safety and health, we are looking very closely at what grocery stores are doing, at what restaurants are doing, and we will certainly not be opening up our door, although we would love to open up our doors again like it was prior to the pandemic. We will not be able to do that. So we are working along with other public libraries in the state, and we're working with the state library and with the governor's office on what that will look like. And most likely it will look like offering curbside service, just like the restaurants are doing now. Except for us, it's slightly different because it's not food, right? It's like when you pick up food, you go and you eat it, and that's it. Well, with us, you pick up your books and your DVDs, but then you got to return them. And so there's that whole element that we are currently working on as well.
Right. So right now, books are not going out, DVDs are not going out. They can access like online through, there's like an app, right? Where people can go on and get audiobooks and Kindle books and things like that.
Yeah, there's an app called Libby, Libby, and it's named after the daughter of the person who originally owned Overdrive. And that's one of our services, is Overdrive, where you can download audiobooks and download ebooks. And there's some films on that platform as well. We have other digital content with our vendors that either we have purchased additional copies or our vendors have added additional content for free during this time. And so one of the ones that I did want to talk about briefly, and again, you mentioned the app. I need to mention the website to get the app, which is trl.org. And For those people who do have a library card, your library card gets you access to all the content online. You'll just need to know the last four digits of your phone number, because that typically is the PIN number to get in addition to the library card number that you need.
What?
So we have Overdrive. We have another online platform called RB Digital, which are magazine issues that you can download and keep forever. And so prior to the pandemic, I think we had about 150 titles. And since then, the vendor has opened up 3,000 titles. And so, and that's from all over the world, all sorts of topics in multiple languages, including Spanish and French and German and Italian. Another vendor has also opened up some of their content. So we have a streaming service called Canopy with a K, and you can get into that and access over 30,000 films, from the Criterion Collection to documentaries to children's content. So the children's content, I believe, is free. And then there's also classes, college level classes on there that are also not part of the eight films that you can check out per month. So those are just a small sampling. We also added, because we know there's a lot of artsy, crafty people out there, and so we just added another service called Creative Bug. And so there's all sorts of information there on how to do different crafts and arts. And then I did want to mention, going back to library cards for a moment, because since the middle of March, this is super important for people who don't have a library card. So if you live in the 5 counties, you can get a library card for free because you're paying for library service through your property tax. And so in addition to a regular library card, which would allow you to check out the physical items, which you cannot do right now, you can go to trl.org and you can ask to request an e-card, which is like an e-number. And then that way you can get access to our online services. So typically before the pandemic, we would allow only about, I think it was 14 days to get this e-card before you got a full library card. But right now we've extended it out to 3 months. And we will extend it out further if we have to. So I wanted to mention that's really important information because we know that there are people who don't have library cards.
All right, excellent. You read my mind. I was going to ask, can people get library cards now? So
Yes.
So when you do check out books, are you thinking that do you have any ideas of how to sanitize the materials, or is that something you're not sure about yet and going to take the lead from other libraries across the country?
So, you know, what's interesting about this is that this is like towards the end of March, almost immediately, there was information coming out, webinars, discussions. Our collection services director is in touch with her cohorts across in email contact with her cohorts across the state. So we're working with collection services directors from other public libraries in the state, and they're looking at the latest research. And while the CDC says it's 24 hours, we're looking at a 72-hour quarantine of materials coming back and waiting for them to again get checked out. I do want to mention that there are experiments going on currently with at the national level with Battelle Laboratories and the Institute for Museum and Library Services, and then another library organization called OCLC. So there's information on the internet about that, and they're currently doing experiments on books, because of course this impacts academic libraries, archives, state libraries, all sorts of libraries, in addition to public libraries. And so they're hoping to have some results from their experiments sometime this summer. You can see their phase 1, 2, 3 approach on the internet. And there's a lot of work going on between May right now and August. So we hope to find something out by August of this year. So in the meantime, we want to be incredibly safe, and all public libraries in the state are staying at the 72-hour quarantine.
Okay. And when you do reopen, it looks like the protocol is going to be the curbside.
Yes.
Are there any other plans or ideas for how reopening might look and maybe when it might happen? I know we don't know when phase 2 of the governor's plan, would it be in phase 2, phase 3, phase 4? Have you guys talked about
So
that?
if you look at the phases of the governor's plan, public libraries are in phase 3.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And we are working with the state library, although public libraries are separate entities in the state. However, the governor wants us to work with our state library, and we have a wonderful state librarian. Her name is Cindy Aiden. So we're working with her and her staff. And we're just like the restaurant guide came out yesterday. So we assume there's going to be something like that for public libraries. So at this point, we are still in discussions, but we are still in the third phase. And I need to also mention that, it's the public and staff. It's the number one priority is everyone's health and safety. And in order for us to open up a building, a library, it needs to be cleaned at the CDC level. And so we are requesting from all of our cities to provide us a letter that states that their custodial services are following CDC guidelines for cleaning, and that we are going to be requiring that the libraries are cleaned every day in order for us to open up for curbside service, even if it's just staff in the building. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at the possibility of 1 to 5 for the pickup hours.
Okay. Right.
And I don't know how many days that's going to be a week, because it depends on each city. And, we have 18 cities we work with, and depends on, we know their budgets have been hard hit. And so we're working with our cities right now to determine that. So until we get the letters and the deep cleaning has gone on and the daily cleaning has gone on, that's when we will open.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I want to thank you again for taking the time. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Thanks for that question. Yes, because there's so much more information at trl.org. And there is a live chat from Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5, so that if you go to the website, you will see a little bubble on the right saying, "Can I help you?" And so staff are there to help. If people have deeper questions, we have Ask Lib for Ask Librarian at trl.org. We encourage you to share what you learned today and what you learned from our online resources and programs, to share that with friends and family. We are putting out regular e-newsletters that go out to over 80,000 library card holders so that you can stay informed about what's going on at Timberland. We do have an FAQ on our website. We are what's called a connection site in the WorkSource system, so that we do have staff who could help people with their SAW account. We also have information about or training opportunities from 2 online platforms for professional development. One's called lynda.com. The other one is called Universal Classes. And again, we do currently have a spring into reading program that ends the end of May. We are working right now on a June 1st to August 31st summer library program, which will be virtual, of course. And we have strong engagement on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we have a few story times on YouTube, and we'll be doing more on our YouTube channel as well.
All right. Okay, well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Robert.
If you find yourself in need of internet access, you can go to the nearest library parking lot and access their Wi-Fi from 6 a.m. to midnight every day. For information about online offerings while the libraries are closed, go to trl.org. If you need to call the Timberland Regional Library System, dial 1-800-562-6022. That's all we have for you today. Tune in next time for more updates. Again, if you have any questions or suggestions for something we should cover, send an email to rkam@tcmedia.org. Stay home, stay updated with Thurston Community Media, and stay safe, Thurston County.